Hello my dear students, today we will discuss about electric flux, then I will discuss about Gauss's law, but before that we will study about area vector. What is area vector? Let me consider one plane surface. This is the plane surface and area of this plane surface is S. If we have to consider the direction of this area vector, then direction of area vector is always perpendicular to the surface. And here that perpendicular I have represented by unit vector n cap. So here area vector can be written as S vector is equal to magnitude of area, that is S, into direction, that is n cap. When we consider this type of plane surface, open surface, then there is an ambiguity in considering the direction of area vector, whether we have to take area vector outward or inward. But that ambiguity is resolved when we take closed surface. Area vector. If we consider the surface in yz plane, then the area vector is perpendicular to the plane, perpendicular to yz plane, that is in x direction. Therefore, it is represented by I cap. So, area vector can be written as S vector is equal to S I cap. If we take this surface in xy plane, then perpendicular to xy plane, that is z direction. So, here the direction of area vector is represented by unit vector k cap. So, area vector is equal to S, that is the magnitude of area, into direction, that is k cap. I hope the concept of area vector is clear to you. Whenever we have to find area vector, then we have to draw the normal to the surface. Normal to the surface will give you the direction of area vector. Okay. Now we will study about electric flux. Here I have shown electric field lines. These electric field lines are parallel to each other and perpendicular distance between electric field lines is same. Therefore, we can say that this is uniform electric field. These electric field lines are passing through the surface and its area vector is S vector. What is called electric flux? Electric flux is scalar quantity. It gives the idea about number of field lines crossing the surface or cutting the surface. Electric flux is the quantity proportional to the number of electric field lines passing through the surface. If more number of electric field lines are crossing the surface, then flux will be more. If less number of field lines are crossing the surface, then flux will be less. So according to this definition, what should be the formula of electric flux? According to this definition, electric flux is represented as scalar product of electric field and area vector. Flux phi is equal to E vector dot S vector. When we remove dot, then the formula can be written as flux phi is equal to ES cos theta. As this angle theta varies, then electric flux also changes. So for different orientation of the surface, the electric flux, that is number of electric field lines passing through the surface, will be different. What should be the unit of electric flux? Unit of electric field, that is Newton per coulomb. Unit of area, that is meter square. So unit of electric flux is Newton meter square per coulomb. Or unit of electric field, that is volt per meter into meter square, that will give you volt meter. Volt into meter, that is the unit of electric flux. To understand this electric flux, I have taken one example. Let us consider one cube, and origin of this cube is origin of the coordinate system, that is at point D. Here for different faces, the direction of area vector will be different. This is A, B, C, D face. This is E, F, G, H face. B, C, G, F face. A, D, H, E face. So total there are how many faces? 6 faces. For these 6 faces, direction of area vector will be different. Electric field I have taken in X direction. So electric field can be represented as E vector is equal to magnitude of electric field into direction, E into I cap. If we have to find flux through first phase, that is BCGH surface, BCGH surface. For each square, area is L square, length, that is L, breadth, that is L. Therefore L into L, L square. So flux phi 1 is equal to E vector dot S vector. Okay, if we have to consider this surface, means suppose this is the cube, then for this surface the direction of area vector will be in this direction. It means towards right. Okay. If we consider upper surface, then direction of area vector will be in upper direction. Okay, upward direction. Here if we consider this surface, then area vector will be in this direction. If I consider this surface, then area vector will be in this direction. If I consider lower surface, then direction of area vector will be in downward direction. This way we have to consider the direction of area vector. Area vector is always perpendicular to the surface. And when we consider closed surface, then at that time for closed surface, as I told you, this ambiguity will be resolved when we consider closed surface. For closed surface, area vector is always normally outward. So for this surface, area vector is in this direction. For this face, area vector is in upward direction. For this face, area vector is in this direction. For lower surface, area vector is in downward direction. For ABFE surface, area vector is in Z direction. For the surface DCGH, area vector is in negative Z direction, like this. So flux phi 1 is equal to E vector dot S vector. E vector, already I told you, E vector is equal to E I cap into direction of area vector for this surface BCGH. That is in which direction? X direction. So for that we have to take S I cap is equal to E into S. Why? Because I cap dot I cap, that is equal to 1. Both are in the same direction. Therefore, I cap dot I cap, that is 1. So it can be written as ES. Okay. If we have to find flux for the surface ADHE, it means this surface ADHE. For this surface, electric field is in X direction. Direction of electric field will not change. Direction of area vector, that is in negative X direction. So here E vector dot S vector. E vector as it is E I cap. S vector, area vector. Area vector is now in negative X direction. Therefore S into minus I cap. I cap dot I cap, that is 1. I cap dot minus I cap, that is minus 1. Therefore minus ES. If we have to find flux through other surfaces, that is ABFE, if we take ABFE, for that direction of area vector is in Z direction. So for that electric flux is written as E vector dot S vector is equal to E I cap dot S K cap. ES as it is I cap dot K cap. Magnitude as it is, direction I cap dot K cap. Both here I cap, that is X direction, K cap, that is Z direction, both are perpendicular to each other. When we remove dot, we have to apply cos 90, that is 0. Therefore I cap dot K cap, that is 0. About this already we have studied in standard 11. For any other surface, if you want to find electric flux, EFGH, DCGH, or if you take ABCD, for all of this, area vector is perpendicular to electric field. If area vector is perpendicular to electric field, then you will get a flux 0. So here if we have to find total flux, then total flux is equal to phi 1 plus phi 2. For other surfaces, flux we are getting 0. Therefore total flux is equal to phi 1 plus phi 2, that is ES minus ES, that will give you 0. So total flux linked with this surface, total flux associated with this cube is 0. Why? Because here number of electric field lines entering the surface are same as the number of field lines leaving the surface. Whenever number of field lines entering the surface are same as the number of field lines leaving the surface, at that time flux you will get 0. So here we are getting flux 0. Okay. If any curved surface is given to us, then what we have to do? How can we find electric flux for curved surface? For that you have to take one small area element. Here I have shown the direction of electric field lines. For this particular element, direction of electric field line is in this direction. This is jth element. And here area vector for this that is perpendicular to the surface, that is delta Sj vector, and angle between E vector and delta Sj vector, that is theta. So flux linked with this jth element is given by Ej vector dot delta Sj vector. There can be n number of small elements on this curved surface. So total flux phi is equal to summation of Ej vector dot delta Sj vector sigma for this jth element. J you can take j is equal to 1 to n. There can be n number of small elements. If we take this element to be very small, taking delta S tends to 0. If this element is very small, if you reduce the size of this element as a point, if its area is very small, if it tends to 0, then it can be considered as point, and for that point value of electric field remains same. It means value of electric field will be constant for that point, and at that time total flux can be written as, instead of sigma we can take integration. So flux phi is equal to integration of E vector dot ds vector over, this is the integration over entire surface. So this is the final formula of electric flux. This formula of electric flux is valid for any surface, for curved surface also, for plane surface also. So if we have to define electric flux, then how can we define electric flux? Electric flux for any surface is the surface integration of electric field over given surface. Once again I am repeating the definition. Electric flux for any surface is surface integration of electric field over given surface. Next topic, that is Gauss's law. Here let me consider one point charge. This is a point charge, and here I have considered one spherical surface. Due to this point charge, electric field is radially outward, and we know that electric field due to point charge is spherically symmetric. It means here I have considered sphere of radius capital R. Therefore, at each and every point of the sphere, value of electric field will be same, because we know the formula of electric field due to point charge. Electric field due to point charge is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into charge upon square of distance. Charge that is same at each and every point of the sphere, distance will remain same. Therefore, magnitude of electric field will remain same. Here, direction of electric field, if we have to find, then direction of electric field is radially outward. It means direction of electric field is represented by this unit vector r cap, that is along the direction of radius, going away from the center. Okay. Here if we consider small area elements, this small area element on the surface of sphere, then on the surface of sphere we know that whenever there is a closed surface, then to find area vector we have to draw the perpendicular in outward direction, perpendicular in outward direction, perpendicular in outward direction. That will give you the direction of area vector. So this way we can find direction of area vector. Now if we have to find electric flux associated with this small area element, here I have considered small area element. So for this, due to this point charge, electric field that is radially outward, and area vector is also in the same direction. So for this we can write electric flux linked with this small area element d phi is equal to E vector dot ds vector. E vector is in which direction? In the direction of r cap, 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square into r cap, dot ds vector. ds is also in the same direction, ds r cap. So we can write 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into q by r square into ds. R cap dot r cap, that is 1. As we know, I cap dot I cap, that is 1. J cap dot j cap, that is 1. K cap dot k cap, that is 1. So r cap dot r cap must be equal to 1. Here we got flux linked with small area element. If we have to find total flux linked with this sphere, with this closed surface, then total flux phi is equal to integration of electric flux linked with small area element So integration 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught d phi, that is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square into ds. But we know that electric field is same at each and every point of the on the surface of sphere. So we can take this electric field outside the integration 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square integration ds. This is the integration of small area element that will give you total area of the sphere. What is the total area of the sphere? We know the formula of area of sphere. Area of sphere is given by 4 pi r square. So this can be written as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square as it is. Integration of ds, that is total area of the sphere, 4 pi r square. 4 pi will get cancelled. What will remain? R square will get cancelled. Q by epsilon naught. So total flux linked with this sphere, this closed surface, is nothing but q by epsilon naught. Here it is not necessary that we have to take sphere only. You can take any arbitrary surface also. And here I have placed a point charge plus q. Due to this plus q, electric field lines are radially outward, away from the charge. Okay. Whatever number of field lines are passing through the sphere, same number of field lines are passing through this arbitrary surface. It means number of field lines are same, then electric flux must be same, because I told you that electric flux is the measure of number of field lines. Electric flux is directly proportional to number of field lines crossing the surface. Here number of field lines crossing the sphere and number of field lines crossing this arbitrary surface are same. Therefore we can say that electric flux passing through the spherical surface S1 and the arbitrary closed surface S2 are same. It means it is not necessary that we have to take sphere only. You can take any arbitrary surface. Electric flux will remain q by epsilon naught. Now, instead of taking this charge at the center of sphere, we can take this charge at any point inside the sphere. It means here electric flux does not depend on the position of charge. Here electric flux you will get, that is q by epsilon naught only. It means electric flux is independent of the position of charge. Here if we have n number of charges inside the closed surface, then total electric flux linked with this closed surface is electric flux due to first charge, that is q1 by epsilon naught, due to second charge q2 by epsilon naught, due to third charge q3 by epsilon naught, due to nth charge qn by epsilon naught. Therefore total flux can be written as sigma I is equal to 1 to n qi upon epsilon naught. This is total summation of charge that I am taking q, so it can be written as q by epsilon naught, where q, that is the total charge enclosed by the surface. What I have written? Total charge enclosed by the surface. Whatever is the total charge inside this closed surface, we have to take the summation of that charge divided by epsilon naught, that will give you total electric flux associated with this closed surface. Now if we take this type of situation, suppose here these two charges q1 and q2 are inside this any arbitrary surface and this q3 is outside the surface, then total flux linked with this surface is given by q1 plus q2 by epsilon naught. Here we don't have to consider q3 because q3 is outside the surface. If we consider the electric field lines due to this q3, then these electric field lines will be like this. So here you can see whatever number of electric field lines are entering the surface, same number of field lines are leaving the surface. So here electric flux due to this q3 charge will be 0, because number of field lines entering the surface are same as the number of field lines leaving the surface. Whenever this type of situation arises, at that time electric flux due to that charge will become 0. Here q1 and q2 are positive. If we consider q1 and q2 to be positive, then due to them electric field lines will be going away from the surface. So we have to consider the electric flux due to these two charges q1 and q2. So total flux phi is equal to q1 plus q2 by epsilon naught. Okay, for conductor, we know that inside the conductor there are electrons and in static situation we have to consider electric field inside the conductor 0. Why? Because if we consider electric field inside the conductor, then these electrons which are inside the conductor will experience force, and that situation cannot be considered as static. So in static condition, electric field inside the conductor is always 0. If electric field inside the conductor is 0, then electric flux will be 0, because we know that flux phi is equal to integration of E vector dot dA vector. If electric field is 0, then electric flux will be 0. So flux phi is equal to 0. If we give some excess amount of charge to the conductor, then this Q amount of charge I have given to the conductor, this is the excess amount of charge, then this charge will lie on the surface of the conductor. Why? Because if I consider any closed surface inside this conductor, then here flux is 0, therefore net charge enclosed upon epsilon naught is 0, therefore net charge enclosed by the surface should be 0. Net charge inside this surface should be 0. Here there isn't any net charge. Okay, number of positive charges is equal to number of negative charges. Excess amount of charge will lie only on the surface of the conductor. So here I have written excess charge remain only on the surface of the conductor. Here if we consider positive charge, then due to positive charge electric field lines are outward, and if I consider any closed surface passing through this charge, then total flux phi is equal to Q by epsilon naught, that is positive. Due to positive charge you will get electric flux positive. Whenever electric field lines are going away, then electric flux will be positive. It means in outward direction. If electric field lines are in outward direction, then flux will be positive. If we consider negative charge, then electric field is towards the negative charge. Therefore here flux phi is equal to charge, total charge enclosed by the closed surface. You can consider any closed surface. So total charge enclosed by the surface upon epsilon naught minus Q upon epsilon naught, that is negative. So here electric flux is negative. Whenever electric field lines are directed toward the charge, then electric flux is negative. If electric field lines are going away from the charge, then electric flux is positive. If we have this type of two charges, plus Q and minus Q, suppose electric dipole is there, then due to this electric dipole electric flux is 0, because plus Q by epsilon naught minus Q by epsilon naught will give you 0. So net flux due to this system of two charges is 0. So here we can say Gauss law is true for any closed surface, no matter what its shape or size. Here Gauss's law is true for any closed surface. You can consider spherical shape, you can consider cubical shape, any closed surface you have to consider, no matter what its shape or size. It does not depend on size. If you take small sphere, then also electric flux will remain same. If you take big sphere, then also electric flux will remain same. The surface that we choose for the application of Gauss's law is called Gaussian surface. Whatever closed surface we are considering, if we are considering spherical closed surface, then that is called Gaussian surface. If we consider cubical closed surface, then that is also called Gaussian surface. Whatever closed surface we are considering to find flux, that is called Gaussian surface. Gauss's law is useful towards a much easier calculation of electric field system when system has some symmetry. Whenever system has some symmetry, it means when charge is distributed continuously on any wire, if charge is distributed on any sheet, if charge is distributed on any sphere, then we can easily calculate its electric field using Gauss's law that we will study later on. Thank you.